Good afternoon, Spartans. Today we are going to look at how to make a chase scene. This is going to be a review, of course, because we've spent several days on this. Okay, the first thing I want to focus on are the requirements. And there are 4 of them. So let's look at these. First one is to design 2 characters. Highly designed. That means no copying. You must make your own. Second thing, we need a backdrop or a background for those characters. We don't just want a solid flat background color. Okay? Third, you need to animate those characters, whether they're moving legs, wings, mouths, whatever. This is done within the symbol itself, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And then finally, it won't be a chase scene without that addition of a motion guide, and that's sort of showing me that new Flash technique that you're learning. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up. I'm not going to save that. I'm going to go into Adobe Flash CS3. I have one already made here. I'm going to close this up and start a new one. So we want Flash File ActionScript 2.0. I'm going to save this right away. Save it as first initial, last name, underscore, chase scene. Okay, save that to my desktop. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a background. Again, this is going to be a very quickly completed lesson, and so you should understand how to do this since we've had some practice. I'm going to go ahead and make this a 50% view here, and first thing I want to do is just draw out a rectangle. Okay, to make it perfectly the same size as our stage, I'm going to go in here and select the background color there. We'll type in 550, hit the tab key, 400, tab, 0, and 0, and that should line it up perfectly with our stage. Okay, on top of that, let's see, I'll just go ahead and use this fun color, drag out a rectangle, and again, I'm going to go ahead and type in 550 for the width. Height, I'll just put 50. And, oops, of course, that's going to delete that yellow section. What I forgot to do is add a layer, but since I'm running out of time, I'm only allowed 15 minutes, but I actually want to make this under 10 minutes. I'll just go ahead and keep it like that. Again, you're going to make yours a little bit more elaborate, so just start adding layers for new additional elements to spice up your background. Okay, I'm just going to put a lock on this. I'm going to add a new layer. This will be my object. In my case, it's just going to be a simple oval. I'm going to go ahead and use something that contrasts nicely against this colorful yellow-blue background. I'm going to take the stroke off, and I'll just simply draw a circle. As soon as I am happy with my character design, I'm going to go ahead and select it, click on F8, and choose to call this circle underscore MC. And it's going to be a movie clip with a center registration, and say OK. Now, before I add my timeline, I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. So I'm going to hold down Shift and Option and make it smaller. Shift and Option keeps it centered, keeps that white center point in the center. And I'm going to move this off stage. I'm going to go to frame 30 and do F6. F6 will keyframe 30, and I will move it across the stage. Now you notice the background only has 1 frame, so I'm going to go ahead and go to 30 and do F5. F5 will allow us to see the entire background throughout the animation, all the way up to 30 frames. I'm going to go ahead and create a motion tweet and scrub the timeline make sure it works. Then, after I've made my motion tween, I'm going to add a guide layer. Right here, where it says Add Motion Guide, and there's my guide. I'm going to take my pencil tool, and I'm going to make a black stroke with it. And I'm going to make sure that my smooth line will be created, and I'm going to draw right through it. And I'm just going to do a simple line. Okay? And then I'm going to go to the second keyframe, and I'm going to drag that onto the line. All right? Scrub through, and I see it works. Fantastic. Okay. From there, I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer, because this is going to be my second object. I'm going to take a rectangle, take off the stroke, and then for simplistic effects here, or to make it, keep it simple so I can speed up the time, I'm going to go ahead and drag out a shift, or drag out a rectangle holding down shift, and I have a perfect square, and I'm going to hit F8 after I select it. Call it square underscore MC, and click OK. All right. Okay, so from there I'm going to go down to frame 30, F6, and drag that over here to the end of the line, end of the guideline. Okay, I'm going to go to layer 4, first frame, and drag it onto the guide, and choose motion guide. And there you see, nicely following and chasing that circle. Okay? So far so good, not any problems whatsoever. Now, I am going to animate within each movie clip. I'm going to do this very quickly, and I'm going to start with a circle. So I'm going to go into my library, double click within there, and I'm just going to do a real quick one. So I'm going to add a layer, and I'm just going to call layer 2 dot, because there's going to be a dot working its way from one end to the other. Okay, so I'm going to just use a paintbrush. I'm just going to simply paint a dot. You know what, I'm going to undo that and do one that's actually highly contrasting. So that would be a good yellow one. I'm going to do F6. Now I'm going to take my move tool and move that one. Oops. Let me select it better. Move that one over to the other side. So here's what we got. Pretty simple. Go into scene 1, test my movie, and there it is. You can kind of see it moving across the purple circle. Okay? Now, for me to really see that yellow dot, I'm going to go ahead and highlight these last frames here. And that way, I can move these down all together at once, move them to 90, and I'll look at it again. And so as you can see, we've got that nice back and forth. Now obviously this is simple. It's not a great animation, but we're just showing you how to do certain things. Okay? You understand, I'm sure. Alright, so I'm going to quickly go into the square layer. Oh, and by the way, name your layers. Always a good idea. Don't call it layer 1 or layer 2. Not that I'm going to see your layers, but trust me, it's going to keep your life much easier. And it's always good to know where you are. Okay, so in the square, I'm going to go ahead and go into the library, double click square. I'm going to do the same thing, just a simple moving object within that square. I mean, I could add arms and legs, whatever, but again, we're going for simplicity here for time constraints. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose this greenish color. I'm going to go ahead and just paint a line. Highly creative, I know. And then I'm going to take that line and move it down to the opposite side so we get this. Okay, go back into scene 1, play the movie, and woohoo! Outstanding. Alright, I'm going to click that, stop the preview, and then The last thing I want to do, because a lot of us forget how to do this, how do you orient a path? Well, easiest way, and really the only way, is to go to that first frame, whichever object you're on. You always go to the first frame and go into the Properties palette and check Orient to Path. Now, because my object is symmetrical, it wouldn't make sense for me to choose Orient to Path. You would want to do this if you had some kind of an asymmetrical object. Maybe it's a rocket where you actually know where the front of that rocket is, or a person. You see the side view of a person, his nose, he's looking to the right or to the left, depending on which way you're going. Okay, in this case, maybe I want to just rotate it. Well, again, you want to go to that first frame. So I'm just going to choose CW, which is clockwise. I could go to CCW, which is counterclockwise. And 1 or 2 times, I'll just check to see whichever one works. And you see the square is now rotating. Okay, I think that's all we need to talk about. I'm sure you guys are going to do your best to create a wonderful animation with some of these techniques, and I'm looking for those highly designed characters as well as its background. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope this helps, and be sure to review.